So, story time. Sorry if you can hear the AC in the background. It's really hot in here. So, I'm going to tell you about a time that I got offered a modeling job. So, I work at a hotel, and we had a lady and her boyfriend come in, and the lady didn't look disabled, but said she had a service dog. And at the time, I didn't know all of the rules about emotional support dogs and where they were or were not allowed. So I'm assuming it was an emotional support dog. And this guy, who is her boyfriend, is also her fiance. And when I'm checking them in, like right away, you get creeper vibes. I'm like, oh boy. So I'm doing the whole process, checking her in, all this stuff, having her fill out the paperwork, get the money for the room. And this guy keeps like trying to talk to me. And so I'm trying to be nice, it's my job, I have to do that. And so his girlfriend goes to the room, and so does he. And then a couple minutes later, he comes back down, and he's wearing a red KFC t-shirt. And he asks me, he's like, have you ever done modeling before? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, would you like to? And I'm like, I don't know. And so he goes on to tell me about this company that he works for out of Switzerland. Blinking, flashing, red light, number 1. Well, no, that should be number 2. The KFC shirt should have been blinking, flashing, red light, number 1. And so he starts to tell me about this Switzerland company that he works for and he does events for. And I'm like kind of sketched out. Like I said, this guy gave me creeper vibes right away. And so he's telling me about it and how he sets up all of these events and all of these shows for this company. And it's based out of Switzerland. It's a makeup company, and he dresses in drag for these events. Like cross dresses for these events. Cautionary light number 3. Dresses in drag. Like, okay. Again, I'm still trying to be polite. I'm still trying to be nice to this guy. I don't know his life story or whatever. So, and it's my job. I work in customer service. I have to be nice. So, I'm like, well, let me think about it. I'm not really for sure. Do you have any information that I could look up the company and kind of get a feel for it? So he writes a website down on the back of a business card we have at the front desk. And a few hours later, I think it was actually the next morning, I was working with one of my other coworkers. The next morning, I get on to look at the website. Blinking, flashing, red light number 4 or 5, I've lost count. It comes up with a web page that says cannot be found. This web page that he gave me couldn't be found. And this guy, like, first off, when he came up to meet me and to check in and everything, when his girlfriend went to the room, I was outside of the desk. So, like, here's the desk where you come to check in, and I was outside of it because I was doing some cleaning. And he's like, while we were talking about the Swedish company and he was talking to me, he's like, can I give you a hug? Oh my god. I shouldn't have done it, but I was trying to be nice. So I gave him a hug, and he tried to make it last longer than what it actually should have. So I, like, pulled away, and then he pulled away. He got the gist. And I was like, this is making me uncomfortable. So I check out the site that he'd given me, and webpage cannot be found. And normally it'd be, like, you know what a normal webpage cannot be found site looks like. It's like a blank screen, and it's got up at the top in big black bold letters, webpage cannot be found. There was an error that occurred or something like that. No, that's not what this page looked like. The background was like white with green leaves that were faded in the background, and it had nice print. So it was a web page that someone had created to say, web page not found. You could tell that someone had put some effort into it. I'm like, what the fuck? So I didn't catch that at the time, so I waited an hour and tried to look at the website again, and still said the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, this is bullshit. So then I have to tell this guy, I'm like hoping I'm not going to see him while I'm there by myself. So my coworker was there with me for the rest of my shift, that day, the next day, but then they ended up extending their stay. They were only supposed to be in for one night. Again, this is a couple that has a service dog that I was not sure was a service dog because you can normally tell. So a service dog will normally have a harness, and like you're not supposed to pet them because they're working. And they're normally medium-sized dogs. They're like labs and retrievers and German shepherds, stuff like those kind of breeds. This was not a service dog. It was like this little rat terrier looking thing. It barked. Service dogs don't do that. She let people pet it. She carried it around the whole time. She didn't even let the thing walk on its own. And it was like a little dog. It wasn't a big dog. It wasn't a medium-sized dog. There was no harness. And when she checked in, I had asked for her certification. And no, I didn't ask. Because we're not allowed to ask for that. The only question we're allowed to ask is, what task does the dog perform for you? Or does the animal perform for you? And I had asked her that. She gave me some weird answer, and then she pulled up on her phone her certification for the dog. So I was just like, I couldn't really deny her. I had to allow her to have the service dog, which they stayed 2 nights. We told them that we didn't have any more rooms after they extended for the second night. And when the housekeepers went in to clean the room, the dog had pissed all over the sheets. Like, I guess she had come down the last night that they were there and asked one of my other coworkers for new sheets and that she had spilled water. Okay, if you spilled water, why wouldn't you just take some like wash rags and dry it up? Why do you need all new sheets for spilled water? That makes no sense. No, the dog had pissed on the sheets, so she came down and got new sheets. I'm like, oh boy. But other than that, the room was fine. But yeah, her fiance, or whatever the hell you want to call him, was a giant-ass creeper. On that note, do not hit on the customer service representative that's trying to help you, or trying to check you in, or trying to do their job. We're not there for you to fucking hit on us. It's annoying, honestly. I get hit on all the time, and I hate it. I really do. Now, if it's coming from a woman and she's like, oh, you're so pretty, fine. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But I get hit on from men all the time. And it's so annoying, especially when they be really obvious about it. I'm like, come on, dude. Don't you have something else to do? I understand you're on the road and you're lonely. But I'm just trying to do my job. And I have to be polite and respectful. That's part of my job. If it was up to me and I wouldn't get fired for it, I'd tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, leave me alone. I'm trying to work. And on that note, I have another story. So I was working the late shift, not overnights, not like graveyards or anything like that, but I was working like until pretty late at night. It was probably about 11 p.m. when I got off. And we get a lot of truck drivers that come through our establishment. And so I was standing at the front desk chatting with a truck driver because I had nothing else to do. I'd gotten all my cleaning done. All my stuff on my shift list was done. I'd gotten everything I needed to get done. So I was standing there chatting with a truck driver. I mean, like I said, they're lonely, they're on the road, they don't get to talk to a lot of people. And if you're nice to a truck driver, they're going to come back and stay the next time they're in the area. And so it started downpouring outside, like heavy downpouring. It wasn't even sprinkling before that. It was like within 5 minutes, it started downpouring. So this guy comes in, not the truck driver that I'm already talking to at the front desk, but this other guy comes in, and I guess there were some races going on in the area, and he comes up, and he needs a room. So the truck driver went outside to do something, went out to his truck to go do something, and so this guy, I'm checking him in, I'm making his reservation, all this stuff, and he immediately starts hitting on me, and starts saying, oh my god, you're so damn pretty, and all this shit. And he's like, why don't you come down to my room and hang out with me? And I'm like, no thanks, I'm fine standing up here chatting with the truck driver who is just up here. And he's like, well, what's that truck driver have that I don't have? And I'm like, nothing. He was just standing up here talking to me about his family. By then I think he got the hint, but he still kept like pushing the rest of the night. He kept trying to get me to go in the hot tub with him and have a beer with him, and he kept trying to get me to come to his room after I got off. I'm like, dude, listen, I don't want any part of your situation that you got going on. I mean, I want to go home. I've been here since 7 a.m. It's late at night. I'm ready to go home. And he's just, oh, so pushy, so pushy. And he's pretty egotistical, because then he comes out and he shows me, I think this is like the one accomplishment he was proud of in his life. He shows me a book it's a black and white book, and there's black and white pictures in it. And he shows me a picture of a band, and he's in the picture, and he's like, this is me, so da 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 da. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, fake smile, fake voice, trying to be nice. Like, honestly, I'm thinking to myself, dude, I don't even really care. Just let me get my stuff done and leave me alone. I think he got so wasted that he finally just passed out in his room because he had a beer in his hand left and right. I'm like, wow. But yeah, on that note, do not hit on the customer service representative that is helping you. We're just here to try to do our job. We don't want to be constantly hit on. It's annoying. But on that note, thanks for watching. Bye.